Francis is a home team. They had the media rights. But IMG wanted the game to be shown on their media with their media partner. So that's what happened. There was an argument over television rights. So what happened was, and remember, these weren't the teams or the coaches. They just want to play the game. This was at a much higher level.
So the administration,
even higher. We're talking major television networks. So basically, what happened in the end was the team said, "Screw these people, that are causing all these problems. Let's just play the game and not get it and not put it on TV." And that's what's happening.
Oh wow! So perhaps the best game of the entire year will not even be broadcasted.
It might be locally in Baltimore, but yeah, you're right. It won't be on a major network that you and I, could watch every week. But you know what? It's better than it not being played at all. So that in the end, the administrations did what was right, and they played the game for the kids.
All right.
It is.
So, Broward, you're about to say something a second ago?
I was just saying that's I'm happy that game didn't fall. I'm glad it's going to be played.
All right.
That match. I'm pretty from what I do know nationally. I'm definitely pretty high on the St. Francis team for sure.
All right. Now we're going to hit I guess we'll go to number 2. You said De La Salle and St. Thomas Aquinas, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. You and me, Broward, we've been speaking a little bit before about and I've expressed my concerns both with you and on the message boards, every one of them, about my question marks at quarterback for Aquinas. The question I'm trying to figure out, will that be, and the question is, at quarterback be enough to help De La Salle pull off what may be considered an upset, even at home?
Okay. So, St. Thomas, outside of that quarterback position at the moment, which is questionable, situation, they are very solid. They are very deep. Do I think De La Salle is a more balanced team as far as starters go? Yes, probably yes. But however, right now I would give us probably a touchdown favorite if I had to make a line on that team for De La Salle. Some people, are saying it's going to be, more than that, possible double-digit blowout. So I'm thinking St. Thomas is going to keep it a game regardless. But St. Thomas in the past, they've had, situations where, the quarterback coming in was questionable. And, as the season went on, they were fine. Ultimately, sometimes late season, in the state of Florida, it will catch up to you. But St. Thomas will be okay.
All right.
Yeah, I'm picking De La Salle only because I've seen Aquinas travel a lot far away. I saw them when they played Don Bosco in New York at Army. Obviously, Don Bosco beat them down in Lauderdale. And then the last 2 trips out west, they lost to BG, Bishop Gorman, and Centennial. So in my opinion, they don't travel that well far from home. They may travel well by going to neighboring states, Louisiana, South Carolina. But when they go far, when they've gone far, they're 0-4, and they're going into a tough place to play, a tough offense to defend. So I'm picking De La Salle as a slight favorite.
I just realized that we didn't even make a pick for the first game, but after all, I'll take De La Salle by probably about, I would say 4-point favorites at this point, but I might flip by the time it's game day. I'm still undecided.
And for the first game, I would go with when it's a tie, I always go with the home game, obviously, and I think you guys do too. So I'm actually choosing St. Francis over IMG in that number one game.
I personally thought last year that St. Francis would have beaten IMG. From what I saw with IMG, I was not that impressed. I feel like even though IMG may be a little bit better this year, I'm still going to lean St. Francis in this game. I would say probably by 7.
Yeah.
Broward, you make it. What's your pick on this one?
I'm going to also lean St. Francis in this game, more towards the 4-point range. I do think they get it done at home.
All right. Game 3. What was the game 3 again?
It was IMG at St. Joe's Prep.
Oh yeah, St. Joe's Prep. What's your expectations with that game?
Oh, I think it's a tough one for St. Joe's. I mean, they love playing out-of-state teams. I don't think many teams over the last 10 years has logged more airline miles than St. Joe's Prep. They've gone everywhere, but when they've gone to Texas. They travel a lot all over the place, and they have almost an unblemished record, if I remember correctly. But the teams they've been playing have been middle of the road teams. When they travel, they don't play the best in that area wherever they're at. In my opinion, this is the toughest out-of-state game they'll ever play, that to date anyway. So I'm going to pick. I'm going to go with IMG in this one, only because I just think they have a little bit, several more horses than St. Joe's, and again, St. Joe's is breaking in a new head coach. Gabe Infante, their head coach for many years, left to go to the Temple University staff. So I just think I admire St. Joe's Prep. Again, their PG, Prep Grid Logistics, promoted this game also. These are both of our clients. I love that St. Joe's is stepping up. I just think IMG would be too much for them. I've seen IMG up close and personal a lot over the last few years. One season, they played 3 New Jersey teams all in the same season. They beat Paramus Catholic, they beat St. Joe's, and they beat Bergen Catholic, which is not easy for any team in the country to do. So I think IMG gets it done on the road against St. Joe's.
I'll take that pick as well. I feel like IMG will have the experience advantage in this game, being that they've played a lot of these major games so often. So I'm going to probably lean IMG probably by a touchdown.
Yeah, and I'm going to complete the sweep. I'm going to lean IMG in this particular matchup as well. I'm going to go closer to the 14-point range.
All right. Game 4 is St. Francis traveling to Traz Powell, which is actually, I believe, next Saturday on ESPN, and they're going to be playing Miami Central.
I can't wait for that. This is a great game. I like. It's not easy. It's not easy to play at Traz Powell. I think I'm a private guy. Obviously, I'm an alum of a private, football program, and I just think the private gets it done over the public that night, even though it's down in South Florida, steamy South Florida. As we talked about before, I just think St. Francis has just too many horses for Central.
Broward, are you considering going to that game next week?
I am, yes, for sure. I'm not considering. I'm very likely, will be at that game. I'm pretty high on this St. Francis team. They're very stacked. I'm going to lean St. Francis here. I'll be rooting for the home Rockets. However, I just think it's going to be too much. I'm going to say 7 to 10 points. Just a little bit too much.
I believe that's also a double header on ESPN because they also have Deerfield playing Carroll City on the same day. I forgot which game is first though.
That's a great doubleheader.
For this one, it's so hard. I want to pick against the sweep just for the fun of it, but it's just I'll take St. Francis too. Pretty close. I would say one score, and so probably anywhere from 3 to 7.
Yep. It is a hard game for me to pick. I mean, last year I promoted the game when Miami Central visited St. John's up in D.C. And that to me, that could be one of the best games ever in the history of high school football. Top 10 anyway. 5 overtimes.
I was watching that game, and it was insane because I was watching it. It was going to overtime, and then after this first overtime, the feed cut. So I didn't get to see the final 4 overtime periods.
Yeah, I remember that. I was sitting in the press box. I was trying to periscope it to all our fans on prepgridiron.com. And then after the second overtime, I had to go because I had to go down. I was covering Don Bosco was playing at Gonzaga about 4 miles away. So I actually left the game at the end of the second overtime. Went down to Gonzaga to see them finish off Don Bosco. Then I heard about the wild ending after the fact, which was a really bad decision on my part, but I did what I did, and there was no turning back. So, but yeah, it's hard to pick against Miami Central, but when it's against St. Francis, when you just look at how big they are and how stacked they are, and the commitments that they have. I mean, they got guys. They probably have 20 D1s already committed to, major Power 5 schools. So it's hard. It's hard to choose to pick against them, even though they're playing right in Miami Central's backyard.
And Columbia, if I could just add to that, I'm looking right now here per 247 Sports. They have 13. Just their senior class alone. They have 13 3-star or higher players. I'm seeing 17 seniors with D1 offers. 13 of them. Being 3-star or higher, and that's just the senior class. You're
talking about St. Francis?
Yes, St. Francis.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, just loaded.
I'm guessing St. Francis, if they go undefeated, could they potentially finish number 1 nationally?
They can. The problem is, in the past, the Geico Bowl Series would invite them to their championship game. But this year, they won't be allowed to participate because they're officially not part of a Maryland conference anymore. So that could hurt them. If 2 other teams just as good play in the Geico Classic in December, and that game is played, and the winner of that game could oust them as a mythical national champ.
Couldn't St. Francis organize their own bowl game after the fact?
I don't know. The only other team they could possibly play who doesn't have a state association would be IMG, but they already played. They wouldn't want to play that game twice.
Okay, that makes a good point.
Yeah,
so yeah, we'll go ahead and hit on the number 5 game. Colquitt hosting Trinity Christian.
That's a great game. I was so happy. Back the former coach of Colquitt had a relationship with another promoter, so I never really got to work with them. So after he left, I got a call from the AD, and he wanted to start working with us. And this was the first game we put together for him, and it's a great one. We Trinity Christian. If you look at their schedule, they could have. If you look at not out of state schedule, but schedule quality of schedule in general, in state, out of state, it's got to be up there in the top 5 around the country. They have no breaks. There are no off weeks on their schedule. They come into Moultrie County, tough place to play. Again, what's holding me back is Colquitt lost a lot from last year, and they have a new coach who's never played in these games where he came from. TCA has played in a bunch of great games. They actually, out of all the teams IMG has played over the last 3 years, I think Trinity Christian might have given them one of the closest games they had, with the exception of Centennial from California. So it's a tough one.